Okay, today is May the 14th, 2016, and right now at about 10:50 p.m. in the foothills of Los Angeles, we have a temperature of 58 degrees. The relative humidity is 84%. The barometric pressure is 29.96. Dew point is 53 degrees. And we had a little bit of cloudy weather today and some chemtrails, not quite as bad as yesterday. May 13th, we had very, very heavy chemtrail spraying, and that was because we had a moisture field moving through Southern California. It just moved in. We could see it approaching out here, and then we could actually predict the chemtrail spraying later in the day, which we saw. Now, what we're looking at here, we have the water vapor map for the Northeast Pacific. And one thing I'll point out immediately is that we have a storm here, a weather system. This is not really a storm in the sense of the pressure of it, but it's a lot of moisture, and this could be moving right into Alberta, Canada, where this fire is. But look what we have here. This is a phased array transmitter generating a high pressure barrier, an electronic wall, I call it, and nothing gets past. None of the weather here is getting past this wall. This would be a great fire extinguisher right here if this kept moving right into the this province up here, where Fort McMurray is right about 2/3 up in this province. And so we can see what's happening. Once again, we have opportunity to get that fire out with nature, Mother Nature putting the fire out. And we have this is all walling up right along here. Look at this flat, sort of a straight edge right along here. And nothing is getting into Alberta. And also, right in Washington, this frontal system is being blown apart. Let's take a look next. We'll look at this also in the western U.S. map. Okay, so right now, also we have thunderstorms down here being blown apart. We're going to take a look at that right down here. This is where all the hurricanes get started, right down in this very warm water. Okay, so let's take a look next at the eastern Pacific water vapor loop, and we can see that this band of thunderstorms right here, right down here, they're being blown apart. There is a transmitter applying RF energy right down here, and we can see that color change. All this very magenta and purple is just imploding, and we have this blast pattern all the way around. Particularly right here, we can see a lot of very good evidence right where the pen tip is, right here, of that blast pattern. We can see a very typical classic blast pattern all along that one edge as these storms are being superheated. And here's another one here that was imploded here several hours ago. This is the very tail end of that. And this has been going on all day. Let's take a look next at the infrared loop. And we can see that right here is where it's targeted. There's a lot of turbulence right down in that area. We'll take a look at this in the visible light mode as well. So right here they hit it, and then also up in this area here, you're targeting all through here with transmitters. And the blast pattern is a dead giveaway, and also these big circular holes that we're seeing. Let's go ahead and look at this now in the visible light loop, and we will scroll through this very slowly. Right here. Right here is where they hit it. Down in here. Now we'll notice that there's overlays that are being photoshopped right here. There's two of them, one here, and then there's some over here. That's hiding the dimple marks that we see when these transmitters hit the tops of these thunderstorms, and they superheat them. And right at the instant that they are being hit, they leave a big dimple mark, which then turns into a crater that expands out as we advance through these frames. Let's just run this. This is being targeted right down here, and also all through here. And they are photoshopping Like I say, these fluorescent overlays are all part of that photoshopping job. They've been doing this now for about 6-7 months, and we cannot see the dimple marks, but the blast patterns. Here's a ring right here running to the south, right there. And that is a shock wave from all that superheated water vapor. All right, let's go back and look at the evidence here on this map. This is the infrared map. Once again, we can see that area right there being blown apart, and everything just implodes. We have that blast pattern out over here. Okay, let's go back to the water vapor map, and we can see really some good detail right here, right along there. High velocity superheated water vapor shooting out of the side of that storm as it implodes, and also down here as well. Okay, let's carry on here. Take a look next at, okay, here is the western U.S. water vapor loop, and we have some manipulation going on here. A transmitter is blowing a hole right through the frontal system of this developing storm. This should be moving right into Canada. Let's take a look next at the infrared loop, and we can see right there is a hole being bored. First, I'm going to stop this thing and get rid of that corrupted map. Just hang on 1 second here. Scroll through here, and there we go. Delete that map. Okay. All right. So as we scroll through, right there is where they are targeting the storm, and we can take a look at this in the visible light mode, and we see that everything just dissipates after that is hit. That one area right there. Go backwards, and right here you see that hole. Okay. So now when we go into the visible light mode, let's take a look now at the visible light mode. We have some pretty good detail here. Let's just back this up. We can actually see the development of that transmitter hitting that frontal system here. This is that system. Right here is where it's hit, right there. There's a dimple mark there, and there's also a dimple here. It looks like one over here, but let's just keep an eye on that one right in the center. And we'll go to the next frame, right here. Right there, it starts to get a little more pronounced. And then right here, we have a second, this looks like a, let's go back one. Yeah, they actually hit it again right here where that dimple is. Right there, and we can see a shock wave right here, semicircular. Okay. And then as we advance through the frames, this just gets larger and larger. And then, of course, the whole frontal system is superheated, and it just implodes. All right, so let's go ahead and just run this loop and take a look at what's happening. So this is some very good detail right here. They're destroying this frontal system so that when it does move north, it's not going to be worth a damn in terms of rain. They're probably chemtrailing up in this area too. I haven't looked at the MODIS Today map for that one area. The one for Southern California is completely whited out, so I didn't pull it up. There's no point. There's nothing to see. But anyhow, we do see what's happening here. And then we have this blockade all through here, which is apparent when we look at the infrared loop. Again, everything is walling up, mushrooming into that area of dry, high pressure that's been generated by this transmitter. This looks like a phased array transmitter. There's a very narrow area of high pressure that's being applied using RF, and that is keeping all this weather out. It's preventing any northwest, or rather northeast bound movement of that whole weather system. We have a huge fire up in Alberta, up in Fort McMurray, and notice that nothing's getting into Alberta, and plus we have this problem over here. manipulation going on. So this is pretty amazing stuff. Everybody needs to share this information. We're just going to keep doing these videos. At some point, something's going to have to give. Uh, this can't carry on like this. This is absolute madness. Okay, now here's the Southern California area. This is the southwest loop. We can see moisture moving through the area. This map is corrupted. This is the infrared map. All right, here's the jet stream map, and we can see that we do have some jet stream flow moving towards California right here. That's a good sign, but unfortunately, Mother Nature is not in charge any longer. Okay, here's the sea level map. We have high pressure indicated. We have low right over Nevada and Utah. And right now we have a slightly lower pressure. I think I mentioned that it's 29.96. We've the previous 3 days we've had 30 inches even during the day, all day long, 30 inches, and now it's a little bit lower because of this low here. All right, let's take a look next at the 500 millibar. We have that upper level low pressure that should be moving into Canada. That's being blocked and destroyed. That frontal system is being destroyed by a transmitter. Here's the 300 millibar. We have the upper level low. We have another low out here. And we see some ridges here. All right, so that pretty much concludes the summary for today. But see this destruction going on here. Left unchecked, this would quickly develop into a disturbance and a tropical storm. This was a very large system. Now, obviously, there's good purposes for this weather manipulation technology. There's preventing hurricanes is not a bad thing, but what we're seeing over Washington State and this sort of thing, they're trying to hide their work. But that right there is damning evidence. That's just crappy Photoshop work right there. But this right here is a telltale right there. You're blowing that system apart. That whole frontal system is being superheated. And we can see that very clearly on the here on the water vapor map, or excuse me, on the visible light map right there. Right there, that is as good as it gets. You can see the shock waves right there. Okay, so, and of course nothing's getting past into Alberta where that big fire is. That's pretty good evidence, folks. Okay, we'll do another update tomorrow. I'd like to just say one more thing about the pharmaceutical industry. I think it's about every fifth commercial on television is a drug commercial. And what better way to support the pharmaceutical industry than to everyone getting sick by breathing the air that is full of chemtrail mix? They could easily be lacing those chemtrails with pathogens and viruses and all sorts of things. And so we need to keep that in mind. I know the people around here, we also get sick. I was reading the comments several days after the heavy spraying. We were sneezing and feeling strange, weak, all that stuff. And so I think that they are certainly they've got to be lacing these aerosols. If we understand what happened on September 11th, 2001, that was the ultimate double cross of a government against its people. Covering up all that evidence about the World Trade Centers and everything else. So we know what the government is capable of. And so I just want to mention that if you don't know anything about September 11th, take a look at physics911.net and also Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. Okay, that's it. I'll do another one tomorrow.